Alright, here is my milk, the Amish milk, and I call it that because it is. It came from the Amish farmer, and it has actually been in my refrigerator for 3 days. The cream started rising to the top within the first day, but yesterday was my Shabbat, so I do no work, no cooking, no cleaning, no anything on the Shabbat. So I waited till today. Today's day 3 since I've had it, and you can look and you can see that line. See where the cream is? It looks clear underneath it. There's the cream on the top of that one, and also that one. And I come from a distance, and y'all can, you can see it really, really fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to skim the cream from the top. And I won't show you the whole time I'm skimming the cream from the top, but I will show you some of it. Now, the trick is, or I don't like that word, the thing is, the Amish farmer, he's such a really cool feller. I make homemade butter. I've been making homemade butter for quite so many years now, and I always use a mason jar. I actually got that right there. It's a churn. It's a butter churn, and I got that from the Amish store because I always wanted one, and I thought it was so cool. Well, turns out that it was taking forever for me to get my cream to come to butter in that thing, and I was like, golly bum, son. So I just grabbed a mason jar like I always do, and I just shook it instead of trying to churn it in that thing. So I'm sure that has its use, and I'm grateful to have it because I'll find a great use for it. But back to the mason jar. The farmer also told me, he says, when you make your butter, he says, make it in a square jar. And a lot of people wouldn't consider this a square jar, but look, it's not completely rounded. It's got like a square round to it. So this is what I would consider a square jar. And it's a quart-sized jar. And with this, I'll probably have to do this twice. I'm going to, like I said, first skim off the cream, and I'm only going to allow the cream to get to be a little over halfway. And then I'm going to shake the hound out of it until it turns into butter. And usually that takes about 10 minutes. So you just have to find the comfortable spot and shake, shake, shake. All right, let's go ahead and start skimming the cream from the Amish milk. Okay, you're going to need some type of deep spoon or ladle, and I have this. I got this one the other day from the Amish store, and because I hold the camera with one hand and the spoon with the other, I need to make sure I have ample room to do this without knocking coffee mugs off or all over the place. So you're going to want to take a ladle, something that's going to fit into your jar at least. Now, the half gallons have a smaller mouth opening than this one. So this spoon's going to fit in here perfectly. So I'm going to hold it up here, and I'm going to show you how to skim the milk from the top. This goes down pretty deep right now. So oh yeah, there is one thing I forgot to do. With your spoon, you should run like really, really cold water over it first, and that helps the cream come off easier. Now you're going to want to do this to all of your jars with the cream on top. I'm going to let you look at it go down in it. And this is beautiful cream. And this takes a while. I mean, it honestly takes a while. And you'll know whenever you're getting to the bottom of the cream, because the cream, there's the cream line. And if you dip into that cream line, the milk looks like it has a blue tint to it. And you'll know you're getting into the milk. It's alright if you get a little bit of milking with your cream. You know, that's no big deal. So you continue to do this until you get your jar halfway full. So I'm going to pause it here, and I'm going to continue to skim the cream from the milk. Now you see how far I've gotten, and you can still see the line, and you see how full the jar is getting. I'm going to put a little bit more cream in that jar, and then it's going to be time to shake it. You don't want to fill the jar because you want to have as much movement in that jar that you can get. You want it at least halfway full or a little bit more. But you want movement in that jar because you know you need it to shake. And the shaking is what turns it into butter. So we're going to get a little bit more from here. Now when you get to this level, you be careful not to dip down too deep into the milk. Like I said, if you do, no big deal. But try not to. Now there's a little thing I've come to do. I actually take, if I've got one here in my drawer, and I've got a bigger one, it's clean, but I'll take a syringe, yeah, I've got one over there, and I'll suck the cream when it gets really, really low at the very top part of it, so I don't get much milk, and then I'll put it in my jar. I'll show y'all that too, but I'm going to continue to draw out some more cream. Here's the syringe I was talking about. I get them at the feed store. And you just take this and you just put it down on the very top part of the cream. And you can actually come to the side and do it if you want to. But you just barely put it down in there, and then you pull up on the syringe and you'll get the majority of the cream from the top of the milk. Okay, there's the syringe, pretty near full. And then you just take it and very steadily squeeze that. Of course, you're going to be using 2 hands probably into your jar. That's just a little tip that can help you kind of skim off the last bottom part of the cream without actually having to dip down into the milk itself. Now that jar is about 3/4 of the way full. I don't want it no fuller than that. So I'm going to stop there, and we're going to cap it. And we want it to be between 60 and 65 degrees. So the Amish farmer said if you have it between 60 and 65 degrees, it will make your butter shake up. It'll turn your cream into butter really quick. I've never known that. I've always just, you know, skimped the cream and put it in a mason jar and shook it. And it usually takes about 10-15 minutes. You can do the same with heavy cream from the store. I used to do that before I could get my hands on some raw. This is raw milk. And, you know, it's the same process. You pour it into a mason jar and then you shake it. So right now I'm going to cap it. And I'm going to wait till it gets to between 60 and 65. And it was 54 degrees a while ago whenever I got it at the refrigerator. So I'm going to check that, and then I'll be back. Alright, it is 60 degrees. So all you do is you grab your jar, make sure your lid's on tight, and you're just going to shake it. You're just going to shake it. That's all you're going to do. So go find a comfortable spot to sit in and just shake the cream until you hear like a sloshing sound. And then you'll be able to see it through the jar. You'll see the butter, and the jar will become clear. It won't be like really creamy looking. It'll become clear. Alright, I've been shaking it for probably about 18 minutes. Sometimes it takes longer time than normal. Now I have reached the phase of like whipped cream. If you wanted whipped cream, you could stop here and you'd have your whipped cream. But I want butter. So now I'm going to cap it again. And you know when you've reached whipped cream because you quit hearing the sloshing sound. It doesn't make a sound. It feels heavy. So now to get to the butter stage, we got to recap it and we got to shake it for just a couple of minutes more. All right, now you see your butter forming inside. You'll start to see butter forming inside. And then you'll see the liquid kind of just go to the bottom. There's your butter inside. Don't stop shaking yet. You need to continue to shake it a few more minutes to make sure your butter adheres to itself. Okay? Continue to shake for at least a few more minutes so all the butter will adhere to itself. All right, now you have butter. The milk is very thin. The butter is staying together. You see it through the jar. Now you want to take it and strain it and rinse it. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to pour the milk, that's your buttermilk, into a clean pan or bowl. This is a farm bowl. I'm going to pour that in there. Now having cheesecloth would be great at this moment. I have some, not quite sure where it's at. So I have a jelly bag. I use my jelly bags for everything, from straining herbs to my butter. Make sure your butter does not fall out of the jar when you do this. There's your beautiful butter. Now you want to either dump this into a jelly bag or a cheesecloth. I would recommend a cheesecloth, but I'm very familiar with jelly bags, so that's what I'm going to do. While it's in the jelly bag, you want to do the same thing you would do with the cheesecloth. You want to just squeeze the milk. Don't squeeze too hard because you'll squeeze some butter through, but squeeze the milk out of the butter. Once you do that, you put your butter in a bowl, and then you can either salt it or not, and it's best to wrap it in either wax paper or put it in a jar. The thing about using a jelly bag is some of it will stick to the inside of the bag. Just take your bag, lay down a piece of wax paper, and take a butter knife, and then you're just going to scrape the butter off of here and put it in your bowl with your butter. And there you go. You now have homemade butter that you did yourself. You churned it yourself. I know you should get the hound out of it in a mason jar, but you churned it yourself pretty much. And this is the time where you can put, now if you want to put some salt on it, just sprinkle a little bit at a time and mix it through and taste it, because you can over salt your butter very easily. You can also take this and, like I said, put it in a jar and put it in the refrigerator. You want to put it in the refrigerator anyway, unless you're going to use it right away. But put it in the refrigerator. I like to put mine in a jar, but today I'm going to take mine and I'm going to put it in the wax paper and stick it in the refrigerator, because I'm going to be using it. I'm going to be using this up pretty quick. And I also like to make my own butters, so I will incorporate maybe some strawberries into this and make some homemade strawberry butter. You can incorporate all kinds of things into this and make your own butters. It's delicious. Even herbs. If there's certain herbs you like, you can sprinkle the herbs in and make your own butter. And it's also easy that once you take it out of the bowl to put it on your wax paper, and you can shape it on your wax paper and roll it up. So there you go. It took me a total of basically around 20 minutes to get to the butter stage and to strain it. And the jelly bag, it scraped right off of it, nice and clean like. So yeah, there you go. This is my Amish cow milk butter, and I'm very excited for it. Well, I desire that this was helpful to you, and that you learned how to make your own, and that you'll go out there and get you some raw milk. If not, get you some heavy cream from the store. I would prefer the raw milk. It's better for you. It ain't got all that hoo-ha in it. And give this a shot. You'll be very joyous within yourself when you see the accomplishment that you can do on your own without having to depend on a store to do everything for you. Shalom from Hill'Top Hollar, y'all. Halal'YAHUAH. Oh, one more thing. Don't forget to finish getting your cream out of the jars. And I still have 2 to do. So think of all the delicious butter Yahweh is giving us as a barakah. It's a beautiful thing, y'all. Halal'YAHUAH. One last thing I forgot to mention. You're going to have milk left over in your bowl. That's your buttermilk. Go ahead and take that milk and pour it into a jar. That is something you can make your buttermilk biscuits, buttermilk pancakes, anything you want to use buttermilk in. That's what you use your buttermilk in. So out of that one jar, 3/4 of a mason jar full of cream, I got 1 large stick of butter and all of this buttermilk. That's the milk that was left in the jar from the butter. So don't forget, put your buttermilk up in a jar. Don't just toss it. Use it.